Welcome to your Bruce Lee Balo channel, where we explore fascinating topics and share exciting content with our incredible community of viewers. If you enjoy our videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell, so you never miss our latest and greatest uploads. Now let's move on to today's topic. Today we're going to delve into the legendary Bruce Lee and his iconic film, Game of Death. Prepare to be captivated as we take you on a journey through the film's gripping storyline and reveal its intriguing details. Game of Death is an unfinished Hong Kong martial arts film written, produced, directed, and starring Bruce Lee. Filming began in August 1972 but was interrupted 2 months later because Lee had received an offer to star in Operation Dragon, the first kung fu film produced by a Hollywood studio, Warner Brothers, and with an unprecedented budget, for the genre $850,000. After his work on this film, he returned to filming Game of Death but died suddenly of cerebral edema even before Operation Dragon was released. Robert Clouse, the director of the latter, was then hired to complete the Game of Death with the shots already shot by Lee. Indeed, more than 100 minutes of scenes had been filmed before his death, but were then lost in the archives of the Golden Harvest. The remaining shots show 3 of the film's final fights. Lee's original story is about a man joining a group of martial artists formed to recover a stolen Chinese national treasure held on the top floor of a 4-story pagoda in South Korea, with an enemy on each floor to fight. The 1978 film, on the other hand, tells a story of revenge, when the triads attempt to kill the main character, who fakes his death and seeks revenge on those who tried to kill him. The final part of the film uses the original shots filmed by Lee, although the pagoda has become a restaurant. The film's original concept of climbing a tower with a different enemy on each floor has had a notable influence on many action films and video games. The film is also known for Lee's iconic yellow and black striped outfit, as well as the fight scene with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, both of which were featured in various media. Hai Tien, Bruce Lee, an undefeated and retired martial arts champion, is approached by the Korean mafia to take part in a raid on a 5-story pagoda believed to hold treasure on the top floor. After he refuses to participate, his sister and younger brother are kidnapped, forcing him to participate in the operation. During a briefing at the mafia boss's house, Hai Tien meets his 4 future accomplices, all of whom are seasoned martial arts experts. The boss shows a reconnaissance film of the temple area, explaining to the accomplices that since firearms are prohibited in the village, the pagoda is guarded by martial arts mercenaries. There is 1 per floor. Their instructions are to progress to the top of the pagoda while fighting to recover the treasure. After an outdoor fight against several karateka, Hai Tien and his accomplices manage to enter the pagoda and face a different opponent on each floor. First floor, a kicking expert, Wong In-sik. A first accomplice dies. Second floor, a fighter who mixes praying mantis-style kung fu and Wing Chun, Taki Kimura. A second accomplice dies. Third floor, a fighter who mixes Kempo karate and Philippine fencing. He's also a nunchaku master, Dan Inosanto. Hai Tien, armed with a bamboo, fights by lecturing his opponent, then kills him by strangling him with a nunchaku. Fourth floor, a master of Hapkido, Ji Han Jae. After tiring him enough to grab him, Hai Tien breaks his back. Fifth floor, the last 2 accomplices, James Tien and Che Yuan, die facing a 2.20 meters fighter, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, with an unknown style, the essence of Jeet Kune Do. Unwittingly discovering that his opponent suffers from photosensitivity, Hai Tien uses the light to be able to punch him and knock him down, then finishes him off with a chokehold. After all these difficult battles, Hai Tien, the only survivor, leaves the pagoda exhausted. Global martial arts movie star Billy Lo refuses to work for a Hong Kong crime syndicate led by the sinister Drive Land Dean Jagger, despite several warnings from karate champion Carl Miller, Robert Wall criminals. Steiner, Hugh O'Brien, then decides to have Billy deleted by the organization's killer, Stick, Mel Novak. During the filming of a film by Billy Lo, the killer acts. Billy is shot in the face, leaving him for dead. In fact, he is still alive and has to undergo cosmetic surgery that changes his physical appearance. He has a thick beard. Billy then takes advantage of his metamorphosis and the fact that the crime syndicate believes him to be dead to take revenge. He breaks into Drive Land's property and attempts to strangle him but has to turn back after fending off several henchmen from the organization. Billy decides to attack Carl Miller at the end of the World Karate Championship, during which Miller regains his title, after dissuading his fiancée Ann Morris, Colleen Camp, from killing Drive Land, who is attending the championship. During a memorable karate fight in the locker room, Billy kills Miller, arousing Land and Steiner's suspicions about his supposed death. Steiner has Ann kidnapped and orders Jim Marshall, Gig Young, Ann's work colleague and friend of the Ann-Billy couple, to tell Billy that the latter must go to a warehouse where Stick is waiting in ambush, surrounded by biker union killers. Billy neutralizes all of his enemies and forces Stick to reveal to him where Drive Land resides, a 4-story restaurant. On each floor Billy faces a formidable enemy. Pasquale Dan Inosanto, a nunchaku champion. A Hapkido champion, Jin Han Jae. The formidable Hakim Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, a terrifying 2.20 meters fighter, compare with Bruce Lee's 1.70 meters. Steiner, very skilled with his cane which serves as a sword and who defends access to the personal apartments of Dr. Land. Eventually Billy chases Drive Land onto the roof of the restaurant. The latter slips, falls into the void, crosses electric advertising panels and kills himself. Drawing on notes written by Bruce Lee as well as testimonies from Linda Lee Cadwell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Taki Kimura and Jihan Jae, the documentary Bruce Lee, A Warrior's Journey explains what the real idea behind this film was, and shows the result of the filming carried out by Bruce Lee, 40 minutes of film featuring him alongside James Tien and Che Yuan fighting against Dan Inosanto, Jihan Jae and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. In France, this documentary is available on DVD under different titles: Bruce Lee, Journey of a Fighter, Bruce Lee, The Journey of a Warrior, Bruce Lee, The Epic of the Dragon. However, a Japanese film named Bruce Lee in God was released in the same year as Bruce Lee, A Warrior's Journey. This film shows variations on Bruce Lee's fight scenes where he is seen doing different moves to those in Warrior's Journey or The Game of War. Death of Robert Klaus. Bruce Lee began filming at the end of August 1972, then interrupted it at the end of October to focus on Operation Dragon. The Game of Death was scheduled to resume in September 1973, but Bruce Lee died in July. The yellow and black striped suit was a comfortable, flexible outfit, which allowed one to move without being hampered, which showed that the character did not belong to any known martial arts style, and which also showed the expression of what Bruce Lee felt towards martial arts. You don't have to wear the traditional uniform to be an effective fighter. Over time, this yellow jumpsuit has served as a nod to Bruce Lee in different films: Kill Bill by Quentin Tarantino, Meltdown, Terror in Hong Kong with Jet Li, Shaolin Soccer by Stephen Chow. In the film Nicky Larson, Jackie Chan faces two giants in the movie theater of an ocean liner that is showing the Game of Death. Jackie, undermined by the two men whom he is unable to touch due to the difference in size, then watches on the screen the scene of the confrontation between Bruce Lee and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and is inspired by the techniques used by Lee against the giant to defeat his opponents. Bruce Lee, the Chinese, faces Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the 2.20 meters black American basketball player. A nod is made to this fight in the film Rush Hour 3. In order to be original, the director Brett Ratner has chose to do a reversal. Chris Tucker, the black American, faces Sun Mingming, the 2.36 meters Chinese basketball player. The fight is also parodied in the French film La Tour Montparnasse Infernal. Ramzi Badia, despite his 1.93 meters, wearing the same blue jersey, finds himself facing one of the terrorists, a Chinese expert in martial arts and wearing the same yellow jumpsuit. In 2021, art historian Eric Monsingen reaffirms the forgotten initiatory dimension of the Game of Death 1972 version and shows its allegorical and alchemical scope never before studied. The film is available in two versions: Hong Kong version, 86 minutes, international version, 96 minutes. The ending differs between versions, and some scenes are different. For example, in the Hong Kong version, at the end of the film, Billy Lowe is arrested by the police, while in the international version the film ends directly when Dr. Land dies in the electrical wires of the billboard. Moreover, in the Mandarin version, the film ends with Billy and Ann leaving Hong Kong by boat after saying goodbye to Jim Marshall. Another difference, the scene where Billy Lowe visits his uncle and is attacked by Dr. Land's men, is replaced in the Hong Kong version by a scene where Billy Lowe confronts a martial arts expert paid by Dr. Land. Some differences were not filmed by Robert Klaus. In the Cantonese version, the fight scene of Bruce Lee against Jihan Jae did not appear except in a scene removed from this version. Billy Lowe, disguised as an old man, observes Drive Land's restaurant and is seen wearing the jumpsuit yellow while talking on the phone with someone, probably Jim. Then we see him confronting Jihan Jae. During the fight, there is a removed part. This scene is supposed to take place after Billy Lowe saw Dr. Land leaving the restaurant with his henchmen. During his lifetime, Bruce Lee filmed about 100 minutes of rushes, which includes the failed scenes, and those where Bruce Lee was right behind the camera, and he also filmed only in the yellow jumpsuit, when he wasn't wearing it. These are just shots taken from his previous films. Robert Klaus will use barely 15 minutes, 10 minutes exactly, and 4 minutes of shots from other films of the work done by Bruce Lee, mainly for the restaurant finale, for the fights against Dan Inosanto, Jihan Jay and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, when the understudy confronts Hugh O'Brien, then discovers Dean Jagger. There are little shots here and there. Basically, these shots were to be used for the 3 previous fights, and there is also a scene much earlier in the film where Bruce Lee does not appear, the short fight between Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and James Tien. The scenes where we see Billy's funeral are actually a montage with the scenes of the real funeral of Bruce Lee. The film's screenplay was written by Robert Klaus under the pseudonym Jan Spears, which fueled some rumors regarding the death of Bruce Lee, that he was killed by triads. Kim Tai-chung served as the main stunt double. He did speaking scenes, and for the fights he did the simple moves. On the other hand, the difficult shots, acrobatics and other spectacular stunts were performed by 2 other stunt doubles whose names are unknown, but the rumor that Yuan Biao is one of them comes up regularly, which may be true, considering that he was part of the stunt team of Sammo Hung for many years. A certain Chen Yaopo was the second understudy for the speaking scenes. He is distinguished by a thinner mouth and constantly wears dark glasses, except in the scene where Billy applies ointment in front of the mirror. This is the last film in which Gig Young appears. The actor ended his life 7 months after the theatrical release, after killing his 5th wife. The film's music, which is both the opening credits and the recurring battle theme, is composed by John Barry, who also composed the music for several James Bond films. This may be associated with the fact that Australian actor George Lazenby, who played the role of the British spy, was supposed to be present in the film. Although Billy Lowe is played by the understudy of Bruce Lee most of the time, the French dubbing is still provided by the same VF, Bernard Marat then Pierre Tessier. The fight between Billy Lowe and Hakim has a small inconsistency. At one point, Billy pierces the tapestry while stepping backwards, thus dazzling Hakim with light equivalent to daylight. But the action takes place at night. In fact, this scene from the 1972 film was supposed to take place during the day. During the fight between Billy Lowe and Hakim, a plan was repeated twice. The first French version distributed by René Chateau was shortened by cutting out scenes such as the montages with Bruce Lee's face in some important scenes. When Billy Lowe joins Anne at the recording studio, the producer points out that there is one more song to record. Anne jokingly responds that he bothers her in her private life. At Billy's funeral, Anne faints on the sidewalk as she leaves. While hospitalized in a nursing home, Anne is visited by Dr. Land and Steiner. They offer their services but, suspecting them of being the main sponsors of Billy's murder, Anne rejects them. Shortly after, in the car, the doctor is scandalized. When Billy escapes from the residence after attempting to kill Land, Carl Miller continues to chase him through the streets before eventually losing track of him. Shortly after his telephone conversation with Jim regarding Anne's kidnapping, Billy removes his glasses and looks in the mirror while applying ointment to his face, Kim Tai-chung purposely masking his mouth to avoid the imposter as best as possible. When Billy asks Stick, after beating him to death, where Land is, he replies that the old man is staying in a restaurant and then succumbs. This scene is still present in the very first VHS edition, distributed by René Chateau Video, in 1981, then deleted in the following VHS editions. When Billy finds himself facing the Hapkido master on the 2nd floor, he says a prayer of encouragement. Reaching the top floor, Billy sees Land sitting at his desk, unconscious and with his wrists open. Observing it closely, Billy discovers that it is only a wax mannequin, the real doctor trying to escape through the roof. As with The Big Boss, The Fury to Conquer and The Fury of the Dragon, the film will have a new dubbing for the new DVD and Blu-ray editions, in full version. Chuck Norris was originally considered to play the role of Steiner, but the actor, having decided to no longer play villain roles, categorically refused. It was ultimately Hugh O'Brien who got the role. A sequel to Game of Death was made a few years later. The Game of Death 2, Si Wong Ta, is a Hong Kong film directed by Ng Si Yuan, released in 1981. Filmed 8 years after the death of Bruce Lee, the film once again stars Kim Tai-chung in the lead role. Only very short extracts with Bruce Lee, mainly unused rushes from Enter the Dragon, complete the film to make it appear that he is playing in it. We hope you enjoyed this in-depth exploration of Bruce Lee's Game of Death. If you'd like to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel and click the little notification bell. We have some exciting videos coming soon that you won't want to miss.